Thank you. I want to thank you for that kind introduction. I started my career after I heard that about 6'2" and 250 pounds, and this is all I got left. I wish my parents were here, because I know my mother would be proud, and after hearing those words, my father would be amazed. I want to thank you, though, for that introduction. This is the second time I have spoken to the National Lewis graduates. When I first got elected to Congress, I flew to your campus in Virginia and spoke, and the reason I'm not wearing your gown is because when I did that and I wore that gown, the air conditioning was out, I lost 2 pounds of water weight just in 2 hours. I decided I didn't have much more to give. Now, I do want to thank you for bestowing both a doctorate degree on me because you have made one Jewish mother happy today. Mayor is good, doctor is better for her. She's got something to tell her neighbors, finally I've done something with my life. The rest of my career, it's just been a spin doctor. I have now something to go with it. So I want to thank you. It is a great occasion here, filled with hope and promise. And I remember myself as a graduate, both at Sarah Lawrence and then at Northwestern, the sense of this moment, not just for you, but the folks back there. Because the truth is, to get here, I don't want to say it takes a village, but it takes a family. And it takes an entire family. Give them applause for what they've done. I mean, the average age here is 37. You are on in your life. You have families. You have children. And you can't get here. And I can tell you that as mayor. I can tell you that as a former chief of staff to a great president and former senior advisor. You can't get here if the whole family isn't part of this. Until you will receive this honor, they will receive the pleasure of knowing that all the sacrifices collectively made by the entire family has been recognized for what you can do. And now, from now on, when it says I don't have time to do the dishes, you got time. That was the biggest applause I got from the back end of that room. You can try my line. I don't know where the garbage goes. Most importantly for me as mayor, while Mr. Smith mentioned that in the first 29 days we brought 2,700 jobs here. That is 1,000 by GE, 1,300 by United Airlines, 400 by Motorola, some of the biggest investments these companies have made in Chicago. And when the key to that strategy wasn't just my persuasive skills, although I like to think that, it was your skills. You have now the skills to fill the 1,300 jobs that United Airlines wants to bring, the 400 jobs that Motorola is bringing to the city of Chicago, the 1,000 jobs that GE will bring, and we are not done as a city. This is a city that's on the move. It has the best trained and educated workforce led by people like you across the city who are graduating. Now, in addition to that, part of that skill, part of that education is so important. While you are being recognized, I want to highlight a fact, and that is nearly 1 out of every 2 kids in our public school system do not see this day. Nearly 1 out of every 2. And that means my job, your job, the job of the city is all that harder to succeed. And we have got to turn that around, because I want their families to see this day of accomplishment. Whether they decide to go on to college or career, 3/4 of all the jobs created in the coming years across this country will require at least 2 years of a post-high school education. And about 47 to 48% of the kids in our public school will not see graduation day from high school. I'm not talking about college. I'm not talking about going on to higher learning. I'm talking about the basics for a career in success and being able to be a productive member of society. Now, what I'm most proud about, I'm proud for all of you and I'm proud for your family. Mr. Smith noted this. The reason I'm here is because you do a great job, is also I announced at National Louis, at your office, the policy of the Chicago Teaching Academy. We have 7 institutes. There's 70 graduates today who will go on and teach our kids, people who are receiving a degree from National Louis, who will go on and become teachers in the public school system with a master's in education, trained in the school and trained here with a degree with National Louis. In the campaign, I announced at National Louis that we're going to take from 7 and double it to 14. We're the only city in the country with an academic training in our classroom with a master's degree from a university in the city. People from around the country come to study what we're doing, and I announced we were going to double it. Next class, next year, not 70, 94 graduates will come with a degree with National Louis. We will be opening 2 more schools next year, and in the year 2012 and 2013, Chicago will have 14 academies in our classrooms, people graduating, 200 kids, 200 teachers a year with a master's degree from National Louis in education. Every year we will produce 200 teachers with a master's degree from National Louis who are trained at these academies in the classroom. That is the equivalent of 10 elementary schools worth of teachers every year to flip over to schools of excellence, and I cannot think of a better example of Chicago in the lead educationally. I announced it in the campaign. We're going to start doing the first 2 next year. I'm announcing that today, and by the year 2012, 2013 year, we'll open up the other 5 to have 14 of these academies. Now, that on itself is news. A, you got a politician who's following through on his commitment. You don't have to laugh at that, but go ahead. But B, what I'm very, I know it's hard to contain, but I want you to know why I believe in this. Now, when I ran for Congress, I saw the academy firsthand in my district at the Old Wright Community College. I saw that academy. I saw the parents' intensity and affection for a neighborhood school. I saw their love, and I saw the dedication of the 70 of you who are graduating firsthand. So I went and got the funds to open up the high school. And we now have a high school at the Old Wright Community College and an elementary school, graduating not only kids from high school, graduating teachers from that classroom and with a degree from National Louis. And I saw what happened. But here is what is truly remarkable. You can go ahead. Those are 2 teachers right there. Now, here is what's remarkable and why I'm so committed to this. Not just what I saw in the parents' eyes, not just what I saw with the dedication of the administrators and the love of the parents, teachers, and administrators. The test scores that just came out just yesterday that are in the paper. What schools saw the most significant gains for our children? The AUSL Turnaround Schools of Excellence. The most significant of all the school systems, right out of here. Trained teachers. Same buildings, same kids, different teachers, longer day. Kids are doubling their test scores. I want to give you one example. I want to get this right. Morton Elementary. 2 years ago, Morton Elementary was at the bottom of the entire Chicago public school system. Only 1/3 of the kids were meeting or exceeding the test scores of the Illinois system in reading and math. Only 1/3. Within 2 years of graduates from this program, they have got now 3/4 of the kids, the same children, now meeting that test score. Now, when I came out for this model out of National Louis, everybody said, "Oh, that's too controversial, don't do it." There is nothing too controversial about making sure our kids succeed in life. I'll take whatever heat's necessary. Doesn't bother me, because it's nothing like the heat our kids are going to take if 48% of them do not graduate from high school. So I am pleased that the class of 2012 from National Louis will not have 70, but 94 graduates who will go on to the Chicago public school system. I am pleased by the year of 2013, we will have 14 schools that are teaching academies where those teachers, the ones that are graduating, sign a contract. They are committed to 5 years minimum to the Chicago public school system and the children that will be graduating. And I'm pleased that that model has shown the greatest significance and the greatest change, like Morton, from last to first in the class. And that's the model and standard we want to set for every school throughout the Chicago public school system. And thank you, National Louis, for being a partner for our children's future. Now, this is the part where I get to impart lessons learned. It's kind of like the standard for a commencement address. So put your seatbelts on. Here it goes. The truth is, while this is a day of recognition for your accomplishment, the real test for success comes in how you handle adversity, how you handle a setback, how you handle a challenge. Now, I had that type of challenge twice in my life. Once when I was growing up, when I was 17, and the other time when I worked for President Clinton. Now, when I was growing up, I was a high-energy kid, hyper, always moving around, and I know that's hard to believe. My dad, who was a pediatrician, used to spend the first part of my 2 years of my life trying to get me to walk and talk, and the next 16 years to sit down and shut up. It reminds me of what Mark Twain once said, at 12 I concluded my father was a fool. By 18 I was shocked what he could learn in only 6 years. But when I was facing high school graduation, I had been working, sliced my finger, was reckless towards graduation in the sense I was partying and everything, and I got extremely sick. Had to be 2 days later, had to be rushed to the hospital, had gangrene, 5 blood infections, 2 bone infections, 105 fever. And in the first 72 to 96 hours, they didn't know if I was going to make it. And my mother was by my bedside. And I basically was pretty reckless. I think we can draw that conclusion. In the time in which I was at the hospital, which was 8 weeks, I lost 3 roommates to different illnesses. And I don't say it was a moment, but in that process, a pretty reckless kid realized the most important, who had nearly lost his life, I realized that the most important thing to do in life was focus on living it. And it was that how I managed that setback that taught me the most about how to achieve something in life. In addition to that, when I worked for President Clinton, my whole life dream was, in public service, was to get to the White House and work for a president I believed in. And in the first 6 months, while I did that, I kind of worked my way almost out of a job being that sharp-tongued kid that my father was getting to try to sit down and shut up. And in that process, I nearly lost the job that I had worked my whole life to try to achieve. They moved me, in the end of the day, they didn't fire me. They moved me to an office with a play school phone that couldn't dial in or out. You don't have to laugh that hard. But in that process of nearly losing a job, like nearly losing a life, I learned what was important. I learned deep down what I had to do to achieve something, how I had to refocus myself, and I learned more about myself and what I needed to do in life by dealing with that moment of truth. And so facing that adversity both when I was 17 and when I was 30, taught me more about what I needed to achieve a moment like this than anything else in life. Obviously, I want you to celebrate today because it's a momentous education and a momentous moment in your life. It will give you the ability to achieve greater things, if at nothing else, to take out the garbage and wash the dishes for your family. But it will teach you a great deal about yourself, because at the average age of 37 in this room, which is clearly not what one graduates from either college or graduate school at that point, you have faced with a family, a job, a tremendous amount of challenges to get to this moment. It means more to you than anything else, and I want you to take that recognition for what it is. You go ahead and applaud for your family. Now, lastly, I want to leave you today with the importance of serving a bigger cause than yourself. A lot of you, some of you obviously, will become teachers. That, to me, is the greatest public service one can call for. Giving something back to our children and having them go on and achieve something in our lives. None of us could be here today if it wasn't for not just the love of our parents, but somewhere along our educational process, we met a teacher who we clicked with, who clicked with us, and gave us the opportunity to see things and appreciate things we never could have achieved. And teachers is the greatest sense of public service. I also believe giving something back, whether you choose teaching, elected office and public service, doing something in community service, giving something back to something bigger than yourself is the greatest sense of a commitment to life, in my view. I try to do that with my children all the time, is learn something along the route that you need to do to give something back. Have a seriousness of purpose, find wisdom in our failures, and if we give ourselves to a greater cause, we can all be richer for achieving things. Now, I hear all those children in the background, so I'm going to leave number 4 out. No, I'm joking. I didn't have a number 4. I want to take my hats off. I don't have a hat. I want to take my hat off to all of you, this sense of recognition, to the teachers from National Lewis who are going to go on to our classroom, and all of you who are going to go on. I hope you stay in Chicago area, because I can continue to do what I think is best in selling the city of Chicago, that we have the best trained, best educated workforce who are committed to their job. This is a great day for you, a great day for your family, and I want to tell you it's a great day for Chicago. Thank you very much for this honor.